What is up, guys, and welcome to my If Spider-Man Was a CW show, similar to The Flash and Arrow. Let's get straight into this. So the universe would kick off with Season 1, focusing on a 17-year-old Peter Parker and his career being a superhero. As at the end of Episode 1, Peter will get bit by the spider, and at the end of Episode 2, Uncle Ben dies, inspiring Peter that with great power comes great responsibility, causing Peter will spend the first half of the episode discovering his powers and learning how to use them. Other characters will be introduced, such as Mary Jane Watson, Peter's childhood crush, who's dating his best friend, Harry Osborn. They would all be students at Horizon High in Season 1, working with Horizon Labs, including its owner, Norman Osborn, who then becomes the Green Goblin. Throughout the season, it's revealed that Norman has connections to Peter's parents, that they worked for Oscorp, and that Oscorp created the spider that bit him, but Norman had his parents killed when he didn't want anything tying back to him, as they threatened to leave the company. Throughout the season, Spider-Man also faces several iconic villains, including Dr. Octopus, with every episode having Sinister in the title, but the Sinister Six will never appear or be the main villains of this season. Throughout the season, Gwen Stacy would make an appearance and become the love interest for a new character named Danny Rand, who gets superpowers and also becomes a crime-fighting hero, and the two of them start dating. The season ultimately ends with Harry Osborn helping to defeat his father, Norman Osborn, who dies as well, bringing us to the end of Season 1. Season 2 then focuses on Peter getting the black suit and losing it, as it then gives birth to Venom, who he has to stop from terrorizing the city. This fight between the two would lead in Venom's death, but not before he kills someone very close to Peter, who will be Aunt May. In Episode 1, it will be revealed that Danny Rand has died, and he will no longer be the Iron Fist, and his new apprentice, Ward Mishov, takes up the mantle of Iron Fist, setting up a spin-off for the future. There is also a Doc Ock episode which partially redeems him, setting up that spin-off as well. At some point in the season, Gwen would later learn that she has powers and was bit by a spider similar to Peter's. Black Cat appears in this season, but only briefly. She and Peter date for a few episodes, but shortly after she leaves the show and is never spoken of again. Peter and MJ also start dating briefly through the season. Throughout the season, Peter would battle more villains such as the Chameleon, Shocker, Scorpion, and even some alternate universe villains who would appear from different universes trying to cause havoc. Midway through the season, Norman Osborn also returns, but without any memory of his goblin persona, and he would become a supporting character throughout the season, even helping Spider-Man with some missions. He does later regain his memories and become the Green Goblin and have another fight with Spider-Man, where he is then sent to prison. The season would end with Peter, Gwen, and MJ all graduating from Horizon High, marking a new chapter in Peter's life now that his time at high school is over. A cliffhanger would also be set up that Peter's DNA was stolen by a new villain named Jackal, who is planning to create a clone of Spider-Man, leading us into Season 3. Season 3 then kicks in with Peter's clone, Ben Reilly, being created by the Jackal as a scientific experiment for him to work. Another clone that is introduced in the series will be Jessica Drew, who later becomes Spider-Woman. Madam Web is also introduced and becomes a regular in the season. The main antagonist of the season will be Raptor, who wears a mask to keep his face covered and no one knows who he is. Eventually, as the season progresses, it will be revealed that Raptor is actually Kane, a deformed clone of Spider-Man that the Jackal discarded from his lab, and he suffered from cellular degeneration, but he managed to escape. and remain in this season here. Gwen will officially start becoming a superhero using her powers as Ghost Spider. Scarlet Spider is later convinced to join Raptor, but he eventually betrays him, helping Spider-Man defeat him in the finale. Jessica Drew decides to leave New York and operate in a different borough, but she will return every few seasons. Peter and MJ split up but later get engaged in a musical episode with Hypno Hustler as the main villain. And finally, at the end of the season, Peter loses his powers and leaves Ben Reilly to become the main Spider-Man, while he starts a normal life with MJ. Season 4 will start with Ben Reilly being Spider-Man for one episode, but Peter will then get his powers back when he sees MJ in danger and saves her from an android known as Ultimo. It will be revealed that Ultimo is created by the main villain of the season, a scientist known as the Tinkerer. After a few episodes, Scarlet Spider leaves the show, only to be replaced by two heroes known as Cloak and Dagger. In the mid-season finale, the Tinkerer manages to turn public opinion against Spider-Man, making Peter so depressed that he ends up quitting, but he does return to being Spider-Man later on. At the end of the season, though, Spider-Man manages to defeat the Tinkerer with help from a new superhero known as Silk, and Mary Jane Watson is also cemented as the new leader of the team. Season 5 then sees Spider-Man teaming up with Silk as they are both hunted by Morlun and the Inheritors, which will be the main villains of this season. They manage to defeat Morlun, but he is then replaced by his sister, who becomes the main villain of the season, but they defeat her as well, with it being revealed that the entire thing was orchestrated by the Green Goblin, who returns with his goblin persona in a final battle. Scarlet Spider also makes an appearance in one episode, with the next season being set up at the end.